On this episode, we recommend checking on the health of your crops. It is important as harvest approaches. Secretary Perdue was at the Farm Progress Show and took a phone call from President Trump. There's going to be a giant package released to help farmers by President Trump. It is a pricing war out in the field. Merschman Enlist E3 and LibertyLink GT27 are very attractive to farmers because of the high yield and being well priced. Listen in to hear their thoughts.
Hi, this is Joe Merschman. Welcome to Cup of Joe, Season 2, Episode number 5. Today we have Lynn Williams, our local area sales manager in the West Point area and also in northern Missouri. And we have Turk Rickinator and Ben Pieper. Well, let's start with Ben. We always start with the hard stuff, the agronomic stuff.
This week's been kind of a fun week. I actually have been able to get out and walk through some cornfields. I haven't been able to do that. It seems like we're busy running around, getting Lynn trained and sell and do all that other stuff. But went to a really good field day yesterday over in Knoxville, Iowa. And we got a chance to walk through some cornfields and look at some different things that they got going on. So we're looking at, out in that field day, we were looking at basically 3 diseases that we're seeing present in corn right now. And one of them is fairly concerning, and it's something we need to start looking out for because of the corn earworm pressure that we've had this year. There's just been a little bit of feeding, and they have to chew on the top of the corn plants before they can die off, essentially. So there is feeding at the top, and with the amount of moisture that we've gotten, there's been decent rain pretty much over the entire course of the state. We're seeing damage, rain, and now we're seeing ear rot starting to set in. So there's 3 main types of ear rots that we got to look out for, and you want to go out and scout your field, and those are the fields, when you have ear rot presence, those are the fields that you definitely want to get out and look at first, because you want to get those harvested. You want to get them dried down to 13%, not 15% for storage, so it doesn't spread in the bin. And then you want to figure out how to market that grain accordingly to what you have, because the gibberella is one of the ones that kind of has a pink-ish color. It can be associated with mycotoxins. Diplodia comes from the bottom of the ear, so you don't really have to worry about that. That's more of a, you can tell that one right off the bat when the ear leaf is dead, and then the fungus starts coming up to the bottom. So we didn't really see any of that yesterday, but we saw the gibberella and potentially a fusarium, and the fusarium is white, but it's speckled on individual kernels. So gibberella is the one we need to watch out for, because that's going to be the one that's associated with mycotoxins and alpha toxins at the moment.
Have you seen any smut, Ben?
I have not seen any smut as we were running through. I'm sure there's some out there with the amount of moisture that we have, but in the little small plot situations we were looking at, not to any, nothing to that extent. So that's the first disease we were looking at. We're seeing anthracnose top dieback, and that's when you kind of see like a yellow tinge in the top of the plant, and basically the plant looks like it's dying from the top down. So we're seeing that on the field edges. It's not bad enough, and at this point in time, a fungicide or something along those lines isn't cost effective. It's just what's happening on the field edges. And then the other one that we were seeing yesterday was Physoderma brown spot. So the Physoderma can actually affect, when it's in the right stage, the Physoderma can actually affect, they call it nodal rot, and it will actually rot out the bottom 2 or 3 nodes of the plant. So we're getting closer to the time frame. Probably the next 2 weeks we need to start doing push tests for standability, because the April planted corn is running around, this is a local report, I haven't tested anything myself, but the April planted corn is running around 35% moisture right now. So we're about a week away from black layer. So the plant's pulling all of its energy and everything it's got, putting it into the ear right now, and we got moisture, and there's disease and other things coming in. So we just need to be careful on what hybrids are susceptible to certain things, and get out and start doing your push tests and things of that nature.
When you're talking about push tests, you're actually literally pushing against the plant or squeezing towards the base.
Yep, so you push the plant 45 degrees, turn around, pull that plant 45 degrees back towards you, because especially with a Physoderma, it can only rot one half of the node, and it'll snap one direction or the other. So go out there and test 10, 15 plants when you're walking through the field, and you ought to be able to figure out if that plant's going to be good and healthy to make it through harvest.
The pinch test is how high off the ground where you pinch the stalk to see what kind of, it should be firm, but if it's soft, and it could buckle over.
Typically it's a 1.5 foot range, somewhere in that. You want to make sure that you're sturdy all the way down, because typically what happens if you have a crown rot or something like that, you'll be able to tell at the base of the plant that physoderma kind of works its way up in the top 2 to 3 nodes that are exposed. So those are some of the agronomy things we were looking at. One of the agronomists that was talking up at that field day that we were at was talking about how important nitrogen and sulfur and how they tie things together.
Yep.
And then what we're really looking at on a lot of these fields is probably a combination of sulfur and nitrogen deficiency, because the sulfur deficiency starts at the top of the plant and works its way down, and the nitrogen starts at the bottom of the plant and works its way up, because nitrogen is mobile and sulfur is immobile in the plant. So when we see a whole field that's cast out and looks yellow, it's more than likely a combination of both. It's not the nitrogen, because the nitrogen will actually kill those leaves as it works its way up.
How's the ear fill looking, Ben? This cooler weather should be helping ear fill, slowing down maturity, but helping grain fill in those plants, those ears.
Everything looks okay. I'm not seeing anything phenomenal. We definitely need some 85-degree days, probably another 2 or 3 weeks to get us to dent, because I was looking at some stuff, 110-day stuff that was planted June 10th, and we're still in dough stage, right out of milk, but we're into dough stage. So we're going to need some heat for this later planted crop, but locally here, our average frost date's October 30th.
15th.
Right.
As you get into Lee County and up against the Mississippi, it kind of winds off into the October 30th range. But you are correct. Once we get up 2 or 3 counties and west 2 or 3 counties, it gets closer to the 20th or the 15th.
Well, Turk, you've been on the road all week, so.
I have. Left Monday morning and got back last night, and so I was across central Illinois and Indiana, and attended some meetings and field days and talking to some farmers, and so yeah, there's I will have to say that I was pleasantly surprised with how the crop looked. Looks like it's doing well again. Late. Seeing a lot of water hemp starting to poke up through this soybean canopy in a lot of areas. You can definitely pick out the fields that had Liberty sprayed on them, because they are clean and are staying clean, but most everything else has got some little bit of water. And then I didn't really see any Enlist fields that I got my eyeballs on, but the folks that I talked to that did have some Enlist soybeans this year said that they were very pleased with the weed control there as well, and it was staying clean with them. So, but need some time yet for sure. I seen beans all the way from 3 foot tall to a foot tall, and they're going to need some time yet. But they are getting a little rain, just like here over there. So that's helping these soybeans especially, and some late fill. We just need this weather to cooperate. And obviously, the trade is watching that 30-day weather forecast very, very, very closely right now to see when they're talking about that first potential frost. And I heard them talking this morning that there's a chance that we may have a late September cold snap. So I'm sure the trade's got their ears tuned on that one. But I was able to spend a day at the Farm Progress Show while I was over there, and walked around and talked to a lot of folks there. And I thought the crowd was a little bit lighter than normal this year. I'm not sure what was going on. Almost everybody I talked to said the same thing, but it was very, very pleasant. One of the nicest Farm Progress shows I've ever attended as far as the weather, and it was just very, very nice. I know Perdue was there yesterday, Sonny Perdue, and he was talking to farmers and actually got Trump on the phone, and Trump was talking about these waivers and what he was going to do. Going to have a giant package for the farmers to help offset these refinery waivers for
for ethanol. Yeah.
For ethanol, and so we'll wait to see what that is. He's going to make that announcement sometime in the very near future here, and it sounded like in Iowa somewhere. So we'll wait and see what that is. But the trade is reacting, and prices are getting a little bit better. And he was very adamant it sounded like that there would be an agreement with China at some point. So don't worry. He said it will happen and it will be good for the U.S. farmer. So
Is that correct that he said that even if he doesn't get reelected, he's going to get a good trade deal no matter what?
That's what I heard.
So in other words, he's going to hold out, and if it costs him an election, it costs him an election.
I wasn't at there, but that I did hear that was, he said that. So again, I've talked to somebody that did actually hear him say it, but that's what I had heard that he had said. So he's
truly the farmer's friend. And as far as I'm not real happy about these waivers, but there must be some other reason for that. But if he makes it up, hopefully that'll create some demand for corn and get that price up.
Well, the fact that he lifted, he's making E15 year round immediately, and that's got to be a boost for the ethanol industry as well. And then he sounds like there's going to be some type of a pump program to get more pumps, E15 pumps installed everywhere. So we'll see what his package is, but it sounds like he's gonna do everything he can to get that ethanol demand up and probably biodiesel as well. So
It's going to be huge, great, tremendous.
Going to be huge, giant, going to be giant. So, but all in all, I was pleasantly surprised with how the crops look. Now, it remains to be seen what it looks like from the air and how big some of these holes are in some of these cornfields. And so the trade's also going to be watching this next this September crop report, and that's not going to be until the end of September. So we've got a little while to digest a lot of other things. And now this hurricane is coming in, and who knows where that's going to go and if it's going to bring any moisture up to any part of the
Eastern Corn Belt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's a lot of uncertainty, but there's also a lot of potential. But I agree. Hopefully, we got to keep running those air conditioners in September because plants and humans have different needs, and plants right now want heat, and we need some heat, and that would be the best thing that would happen to our crop is to get some heat because soybeans actually enjoy heat more so than corn in the growing season. So we need some heat, and locally here we had 3 inches of rain in the last 10 days, so it's really set our production up, but we just need a little more heat.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen any cobwebs flying yet, so we got an Indian summer coming sometime.
We need it. Well, Lynn, you represent what we talk to farmers every day, and obviously we have our pricing out for Enlist E3 and LibertyLink GT27, and we've been aggressive this year. We know that farmers are hurting, and so we're probably leading the charge when it comes to lowering prices and making more attractive for farmers to use our seed, and maybe put a little more heat on the competition too to respond, and we're starting to see that. Mm-hmm. We're starting to see that some of these extend prices are going down from several companies, and so obviously some of the things that we're doing are helping. So Lynn, tell us what you've been running into out in the field.
Yeah, we've been traveling the countryside here for the last couple of days, specifically down in our Northeast Missouri markets. It's a situation there where we actually didn't have any dealers, in my hometown, and so we're kind of out there. We've got an individual set up, and we're really excited about that. But we're also kind of helping, I guess, with the marketing portion and getting the product out to some farmers. And to be honest, it was kind of planning on it to be difficult because we're going into a new area that hadn't had a Merschman presence for some time, and being the new kid on the block, as you guys know, with farmers, they kind of can get stuck in I don't want to say old ways, but they're comfortable with a dealership or with a company, and they don't want to change or be too hasty with change. So we went and talked to a few of them, and overall the responses have been phenomenal. Nobody has said no, we're not interested. Get off my farm. Mm-hmm. We kind of go through what we're doing and all that, and the response at the beginning of conversations has been kind of as we expected it, but when we start to get into the Enlist product, guys have just really perked up and been really entertained by that offering.
What do they like about the Enlist E3 options? I mean, compared to the Extend program that they might be using?
a lot of guys down there do their own spraying. And that was one of the things that's been extremely receptive to the Enlist program is having the comfort of
less regulations,
correct,
less drift, less cost even. So,
and the big thing this year that they ran into, and as guys around here did too, was time. They never could get the wind to cooperate, or there was something somewhere along the line of spraying that just didn't get full cooperation. I know a couple that I had talked to. They started a field and had to stop, and they ended up spraying 40 acres over 4 days by the time they finally got all the conditions to meet.
Well, if there's rain in the forecast, you can't spray dicamba, for the next day. You got to have 24-hour window with no rain. So, yeah, I would think that that the Enlist E3 option would definitely offer many, many advantages.
And down there, the part that seems to be really helpful with us is our prices. Discussing with some of them, just talking to a few individuals. We're looking at a $25 savings for some individuals on their seed, which it doesn't take a very sharp pencil or a very fast calculator to figure out that's pretty awesome for their bottom line.
Yep.
And with our prices, it's penny pinching and being as efficient as possible. So if we're offering an extremely attractive yield package with some of the best prices in the industry, it's hard to walk away from a conversation, with the seed salesman or a dealer after hearing that, not being just a little bit excited or wanting to
No more.
further your education on the deal. And that's the part that's been extremely exciting is, the guys are interested in the product. They want to know more about the Merschman brand, and they're excited to see what the lineup has to offer coming future.
Well, genetically wise, 70% of our lineup is brand new. Most of it came through South America, so we're bringing the latest and greatest. And actually, we're into our second and third generation of E3 products. Same way with the LibertyLink GT27. So, I know we run into this constant comment. Well, the new products don't yield, and I'm just going to look you right in the eye and tell you that is total baloney. These products are state of the art. They're from the breeders that we've been working with for the last 51 years, and they are state of the art from the standpoint of yield and very focused on yield. We've always been focused on yield, and for a company, our competitor, to say that our products don't yield, I'd like to see the data, because we totally disagree with that, and I think it's more of the only excuse they can come up with for not buying our Enlist E3 or LibertyLink GT27s. And I'm pretty emotional and pretty wound up about that, because we are bringing great products to market. And the fact that the Enlist E3 was a single gene that was an insertion into the soybean plant makes the breeding so much faster and so much easier and so much cleaner than traditional back crossing and things when you put a trait in, if you're taking Liberty from one side and glyphosate from the other side and putting them together. So that's good to hear, Lynn. I'm glad that farmers are starting to see some options and some different choices, and that's what the whole year we've been saying. It's all about better choices, and less drift, more yield, and less regulation and more yield, and just in general a great product at a great price. And we hope that farmers are talk to us before they make their seed decision.
Yep.
Haven't heard anything on Sultro yet, which is the new SDS product that will compete with Olivo in the marketplace with less phytotoxicity than what Olivo offers. No halo effect, so quicker emergence, and also what 3 bushel advantage over Olivo, according to data from the Syngenta folks. So hoping to hear something today. And as soon as we do, we'll sure pass on the information to all our listeners. Anything else, Lynn, that you have for what's going on in Northeast Missouri and Southeast Iowa?
I think we covered it.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks again for watching today. As always, Merschman Seeds appreciates your business, and we'll see you next week.